everyone, it's Chloe here at Cousin DIY in Largo, Florida. Some of you know me and some of you don't. Today we're going to make this Celtic Knot wire pendant necklace, and I'll show you step by step how to do that. I've pre-cut some materials to expedite this class. First, there's a 12-inch length of 20 gauge gold colored copper wire, and I find it helpful whenever I'm working with wire to run it back and forth between my fingers to kind of warm it up and make it more formidable and easier to work with. So we've done that. We're going to take this marker. This is a large Sharpie, and we're going to use this to help form consistent shaped loops. We're going to start in the middle of our wire, and because I'm working up and down, I'll try to change the angle occasionally. We're going to wrap the middle of that wire halfway around this marker. We're going to find a place where it crosses, where it's pretty even and we're happy, and at this point I find it can be helpful to put my marker back in. We have formed our first loop. The next step is to take one of your tails and have it turned at around a 90-degree angle here, and we're going to bend this tail around the marker to form a similar shaped loop. And you'll find as you're doing this that you're going to play with it a little bit as you go till you're happy with the size and consistency of your loops. You're going to hold where that intersects, and you're going to do the same thing with the tail on the other side. And it's kind of a guessing game where to form that loop. Play with it a little bit, bring it down. And then we're going to crisscross these top two tails, and let's see what we have here. At this point, it's not too bad. I'm going to play with this a little bit. I want this one to be a little tighter. I want this one to be a little fatter, maybe. Pretty happy with that, I think. The trick to this is to make sure that everything is as symmetrical as you can make it. I'm going to pull these up a little bit. Take your time. Don't get frustrated. Okay, and now we're going to crisscross the top two tails. Double check. And then I'm going to twist the top twice. Twist those two loops together. I'm going to play with it some more. Pretty happy with that. And this is more of a rustic looking Celtic knot. Every place that the four wires crisscross on the outside edges, we're going to take a 6-inch length of 24 gauge gold colored copper wire, And we are going to wrap that together to hold our Celtic knot shape. Now, this is a thinner wire than the 20 gauge, but it still can be tricky to get it started. So I find it helpful to form a loop and tug that real tight, and then take one side, one tail, and keep wrapping it. I want to make sure we get inside that loop. Keep wrapping it maybe 3 times, and then we're going to do the same thing with the other tail. And I'm going to try to keep them all outside of each other here. And feel free to use your tools to help you grab that wire. Keep checking the shape of your Celtic knot, because it can go out of shape at first. A little bit. That's looking pretty good. And the next step is to wrap this side. One, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to play with our knot a little bit, make sure everything looks symmetrical. And I'm going to take my flush cutters and I'm gonna like wrap these wires. We don't want any sharp edges to hit your neck when you're wearing this, so we're going to cut right about here, right about there, and then you can use, get rid of our scraps here, you can use your needle nose pliers and use these pliers just to make sure there aren't any sharp edges. And I often find it helpful to use crimping pliers because they have a little bit of a round indentation in them, and that can help. Nice and smooth. Whoops, one rough edge, we don't need that. There we go. Now we're going to repeat this here, and here, and here, playing with the knot as we go to try to keep it symmetrical.
The ocean, so if you wanna come on, the door is open. I play it all back in slow motion.
There, once again, check the shape of your knot and grab another 6-inch length of wire, and we're going to repeat that.
When I hear those words you made, I won't. Sun lit up the boulevard, driving slow, dancing in your car, singing along every night. Must have played that song 100 times. Made of fire, we were lighter than the summer breeze, dancing the records in your
take one of my two top tails, take my round nose pliers. I'm going to put that up like that, and I'm going to take it forward. I'm going to make a loop for my chain to go through. I'm moving the other one out of the way, and I'm going to wrap that tail around the twist that we made earlier. Bring it one more time around the back. Use your pliers to even that out. And I'm going to pull that. I'm going to pull that a little bit snugger. And once again, we're going to cut our tails off flush. And we're going to use our tools to make sure we have no sharp edges. Test it with your finger. Make sure it's nice and smooth. So we've completed our knot, and now we're going to hang a beaded drop down in the middle of it. To make our drop, we're going to take a head pin. As you can see, 3 moss green Swarovski bicones. And I'm going to start with 1 bicone, 2 4mm gold jump rings. These are going to act as spacers in our design. I found that jump rings work well as spacers sometimes, especially with bicones. Another bead, 2 more jump rings, and another bicone. Sometimes we use a cheater bead, which is around 6 to 7 millimeters, and slide that down to know where to cut the stem, but I'm going to eyeball that today. Oops! And then we're going to, so we trimmed the tail, and now we're going to form a loop with our round nose pliers. And we're going to open that loop with our needle nose pliers. and we're going to position it right over this top intersection of the necklace, of the knot pendant, and close. Be patient here because it's kind of a tight spot, but this works. And you're going to close that jump ring nice and snug. And then we have this dangle in the middle of our pendant. So our pendant's complete. Now we're going to move on to the chain. This was an 18-inch length of chain. For starters, I cut 2 1/4 inches. Actually, this particular chain has a tiny little jump ring that joins the 2 ends together. I cut off that jump ring. Then on one side, I cut a 2 1/4 inch length. And then I took what was left and I cut that into 2 equal lengths. So we have 3 lengths of chain. And what we're going to do is we're going to build these beaded links first. We're going to do the same thing we did with the drop inside the knot pendant, but we're going to use an eye pin instead of a head pin so we can connect it to the chain. So at this point, I'll dump these all out. So it is bicone, 2 jump rings, bicone, oops, two jump rings, bicone. Trim the tail. Form a loop, and I find it helpful to take my needle nose pliers and bend that stem at about 90 degrees, and then take my round nose pliers and form the loop. We want this loop to go in the same direction as the loop on the other side. And if you find that this is a little bit larger on one side, the loop that you've made, this is slightly larger, so I'll demonstrate how you can do this. Open that a little bit. Take your flush cutters and just trim ever so little off from that. Swivel it back down. Take your round nose pliers and reshape that loop until you get it pretty much symmetrical with the other side. You want both of them to line up so the loops are facing the same way. So we have one done, we need to make one more. Okay, that looks pretty symmetrical. So we now have these 2 beaded links. And for starters, I'm going to attach the loop on one side of a link to the last link on our shortest length of chain. Open that loop, slide on the chain, and close it. Next, we're going to slide on the loop of our pendant. You can keep playing with that knot to get that to lay correctly. Open a loop on one end of the other bead link. Connect connect it to the other end of that chain. Now we're going to connect an end of each of the longer lengths of chain to the other end of these beaded links. Swivel that closed. Attach the other chain, longer chain. We're almost done. The last steps are to if you have a preference which side of the pendant you want to be the front, I would choose that now. And I'm right-handed. I think I want this to be my front, so I will put my lobster clasp on this side, on the right side. This lobster clasp already has a jump ring on it. Gotta find the middle, the split. Put it through the end link. Close that jump ring nice and secure. Take the last jump ring and attach it to the other end. Close it. Nice and snug. And our necklace is complete. I hope you've enjoyed this project, and if you make your own necklace, we'd love for you to share it on our Facebook group, Create, Inspire, Connect. Thank you for joining me. See you again soon. Bye.
There's words you made